Here's 15 tips and tricks in Vigor coming from a veteran. Now, I've been in the game since release date, and ever since then, Vigor has just been a trial and error kind of game. At first, they didn't get it right. I kept clipping through walls, grenades weren't working, etc. All this kind of BS. But I thought, since when I started playing, I wasn't that good, so I would figure I would give you all 15 tips and tricks so you just it's hopefully help you play better. This is in no certain order. I just made a list and just reading off the list. But let's get started. Tip number 1: extra bullet. Now what I mean by that is when you go into encounter and you start off with the one magazine you have, you can actually reload one extra bullet. And you might be thinking, oh, what's one extra bullet gonna do? It does a lot. It might make or break your fucking gameplay. But there's been countless times where I am down and I just need one more shot, one more bullet to the brain or something, just that can just end the guy. And that's when that extra bullet comes into play, and it really just makes or breaks your encounter play. Always have an extra bullet, guys. When you start an encounter, first thing you do is reload, have that extra bullet in the chamber, and hopefully that will give you an advantage in your next encounter. Tip number 2: crows. Now I'm gonna try to explain this the best I can. I mean, it's pretty plain and simple. Not really plain and simple, but what I mean by crows is that there are certain animal noises. You never actually see the animals except for the birds, maybe. Like you might hear some wolf howling in the distance or something, but you never actually see them. The crows will actually help you and tell you when an enemy is nearby, because it's kind of like in real life. If you scare the birds fly away, make all kinds of noises. It's the same thing in Vigor. If you see crows or if you hear crows flapping around, flying away, just know that there's an enemy nearby and to be alert before you get your cheeks clapped. Tip number 3: move quietly. Now, this might be a fucking no-brainer, but I can't tell you how many times I played with friends or played with randoms, first like noobs and all the good stuff, where the first thing they want to do is try to get into a fight, try to run in there, play like it's Call of Duty, all this and that, just really exposing themselves and getting themselves in these sticky situations, exposing your location, and eventually ending up getting you and your squad killed. And what you want to do is, either scope out the place, crawl. I don't crawl everywhere, but whenever I see a town or I'm close to a town, I start crawling. If I have a sniper, I'll go prone. I'll go. If there's a gunfight, I'll prone through the whole thing until I can get close enough to make my move. Tip number 4: radio towers. Now, guys, you guys are sleeping on the radio towers. The radio towers have so many benefits to moving the freaking air package, moving it to a different location, to doing a signal jam to where no one can locate you. But they already can, but some people who have the radio towers can locate you. There's one option to where you can locate everybody. It'll show everyone on the map for a few minutes, and in that few minutes you can either pinpoint where they're at so you can go towards them, and once you go towards that area, you'll know to be alert. There's players around, or maybe there'll be someone right down the street. You never know. There's been so many times where I used that thing and there was a person right across from me. I didn't even know. Tip number 5 is camo. Now, I know this really only applies to the season pass players, but camo is not just like the camouflage colors, the marine colors. Yeah, if you have that, that's a great perk. It's gonna help you a lot. But what I mean by camo is blending in with your surroundings. So if you're going on a snowy biome, you want to dress like blue, white if you have it, and maybe black or gray. so you can blend with the rocks. But other than that, you want to blend in with your surroundings. Same thing if you were in a wooden in the woods in the raining area, you want to dress the appropriate color. And you might be thinking, oh, this doesn't matter, people are going to see me. There's been so many times where I don't have the season pass, but there's been so many times where I change my color when I go into the forest, and motherfuckers do not see me laying in the mud. I do not fucking know what it is, but people cannot see you. Tip number 6, aiming down sights. Aiming down sights, it's really, how I see it, something that you only do when there's a distance between you and your enemy. By that I mean, if you were, let's say you're at one house and the enemy's at the other house, you wouldn't want to you would want to aim down your sights, because then it would be a lot easier and more efficient to when you are trying to, basically just kill them. And you will want to switch out from your first person view to your third person view when they come close to you, because third person to me is more like a close encounter, like close corners and all that stuff. Because I never really use first person. Every time I use first person in a close encounter, I end up dying. Every time I use third person, I usually end up winning. I don't win all the time, but I usually end up winning. Tip number 7, shooting range. Do not sleep on the shooting range. There's been so many people that sleep on the shooting range because they think, oh, I can shoot. No, the fuck you can't. I promise you can't. Use the shooting range either before or after a fucking encounter or match. Or better yet, use it while you're waiting for a match. That will help you warm up. And so when you go into an encounter, you're already warmed up, you already got precise aimed and everything. You can take them out lickety split. Tip number 8, it's kind of the same thing as tip number 7, but shootouts. Shootouts are a good way to warm up. Before you go in an encounter, play a couple rounds of shootout so you can get the feel of it, because the last thing you want to do is, let's say you get off from school, you get off from work or whatever, you jump into your first game and you go into encounters right away. No shooting range, no practice or nothing. You want to do a couple of rounds of shootout just so you can get like warmed up, get a feel for it, and it'll just be a lot easier because now you're more alert and more aware of what's going on. Tip number 9, carry what you need. Don't be carrying a shitload of bullets unless you're going out to kill people. Don't be carrying a shitload of stupid ass consumables that you're probably never gonna fucking use in the encounter. Just carry what you need. What I usually do is that I get one primary, and if I'm feeling, pretty dangerous, I will get a secondary, usually a pistol or a shotgun, and I will only put 3 or 4 stacks of rounds for each gun, and I'll get maybe a band-aid. Tip number 10, airdrops. Now, you don't want to just go in to the airdrops right away unless you have caffeine or something that's going to help you. You don't want to go into the airdrops right away. Usually what I do is that I like to, you may not like it, I may be the motherfucker that you curse at later today, but what I usually do is that I will wait for the airdrop to come in, let it land. I don't go for it right away. I get to an advantage point, usually somewhere like a high ground, and I will just wait and I'll camp it there. I will camp it there until the radiation starts coming towards me. And now it's more risky that way, but I promise you there's gonna be so many people that go running towards it because they think it's safe, they think nobody's watching them, or there'd be somebody doing the same thing, but they don't wait as long as you, and you end up catching them instead of them catching you, and you can hunt them down, kill them, do whatever the hell you want with them. Tip number 11, know when to strike. Now this is kind of the same thing as the airdrops and anything else previous I might have said, but you don't want to just run into a gunfight. That's how a lot of people get killed. So what you want to do, if you hear gunshots or if you know someone's chasing you, try to hide, try to get away from their fucking view, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and you want to just kind of steadily but efficiently make your way over there so you can get a good position. Maybe if you run into somebody else maybe if you run into another gunfight, I say wait it out until one of the people is either dead and they're looting him, and you come in, shoot him, you're done, out, over with. You picking up the rest of the mess. Or if you're a sniper, I say wait till the right moment, to the very, very right moment. You don't want to do it while they're running, because chances are you're probably not a good shot, and if you miss, then you're gonna blow your cover. Tip number 12: footprints. When you're in a snowy biome, and I think in the mud too, I'm not 100% sure, I never really seen them, but in the snowy biome for sure, there's footprints. Players and you leave footprints. Use those footprints like if you were a fucking hunter looking for a fucking wild animal. Those footprints sometimes will lead you to an enemy that was right there you didn't even fucking know. Tip number 13. It kind of goes with the previous tips. Not the previous tips. One of the previous tips. I forgot which one I mentioned it in. But tip number 13 is, it's not Call of Duty, guys. Stop trying to run in, trying to get freaking airstrike kills and all of this. There's none of that in here. This is a stealthy game where the smartest survive. It is like, just don't rush into it. I can't stress this enough. Tip number 14: consumables. Bring consumables that will actually benefit you, whether that be a bandage, caffeine, antibiotics, anything like that. Even fucking mortar strikes, whatever the fuck you call them. Consumables will either, same thing, make or break your game. You can bring caffeine and wait for the airdrop to come in. Get the airdrop, or pop your caffeine, then get the airdrop, and as soon as you get it, start booking it. With the caffeine, you will not run out of stamina, or you will lose less stamina, and you can make it straight home safe to the fucking exit. Tip number 15. Now, you guys will either want to get headphones or something, because this game does have those features where if you put on headphones, you can hear where they're walking, you can hear where they're at, you can hear their footsteps, but you can hear all that good stuff. And it's always good to have a good pair of headphones. Not necessarily an expensive one like I have, but it can be cheap little iPhone headphones, Skull Candy headphones, just headphones, so you can listen to the footsteps, listen to the reload. There's been so many times where I used my headset and I hear a motherfucker reloading, and that's when I come in and just get the drop on them. And that's been it for the 15 tips and tricks. I will try to upload more, not promise, but either way, who's really watching these? But either way, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to help support my addiction.